Today we're going to talk about some of the basics of High Valyrian and Dothraki. Keep in mind, I'm not an expert on this subject. If you would like to learn more, you can look up David J. Peterson's YouTube videos. First, let's talk about some High Valyrian. So High Valyrian, the R in High Valyrian, make sure you roll your tongue a good bit. And then the J sounds a lot like zh. And then the E is a lot like U. And sometimes if you see a macron over a word, it means that letter on the word should be held a little bit longer than others. Some basic phrases in High Valyrian are Ritses, which means hello, or you could say Geros Iles, which means goodbye. Isa simply means yes, and Dior means no. If you're going to be appreciative for something, you could say Karin Vose, which means thank you. Or if you're asking for something, you might say Kostilus, which means please. Some simple phrases you might ask is, what is your name? The way this would be answered would be Nuha Brosi, your name, and then Isa. So for me, I would say Nuha Brosi Ridiculous Patronus Isa, or since I'm Chase from the Ridiculous crew, I would say Nuha Brosi Chase Isa. If you wanted to say some other simple phrases, such as how are you, I would say Skorki doso glaesa. You would answer this by saying Siri glaesen, meaning I am well. Or if things are not going well, you might say Siri glaesen dior, I am not well. If someone were to ask you, do you speak Valyrian? They would say Idrai G Valyre. If you were going to say goodbye and wish someone well, you might say Karambose se Geros Ilas. Thank you and farewell. If you were trying to say a famous phrase from Game of Thrones, you might say Scori de malute tempter timnes erinis ia morgulis. When you play the Game of Thrones, you win or you die. Now let's take a look at some basic Dothraki. So if you were going to interact with Khal Drogo, you might say Math Chomarun, which means with respect. Or that can be taken as hello. Math and mach are both used as hi in this language. You might even say something like Hashia Dothrai Chek Ashchek, which means how are you today? You might respond by saying Ath Dav Razar, which means excellent. A famous phrase in Dothraki would be Shekmi Sharekiani, meaning you are my sun and my stars. They might respond with Jalan Atierani, which means you are the moon of my life. These are just some basics of High Valyrian and Dothraki. If you would like to know more, remember to go check out David J. Peterson's YouTube videos and other information he posts online. If you'd like to know more about Game of Thrones, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and other fantasy fiction, subscribe to Chase and Josh Factor Fantasy Podcast. The link is in the bio, or you can subscribe to Ridiculous Patronus on YouTube. Thank you, everyone. Have a magical week.